let's talk about something uncomfortable. Not to attack traditions, not to offend beliefs, but to ask an honest question. What if the most celebrated Christian holiday is not celebrated the way God ever asked? The Bible never tells us to celebrate the birth of Jesus on December 25th. Not once. There is no command, no instruction, no example. In fact, the Bible is silent on the exact date of Christ's birth, and silence in Scripture is never accidental. According to Scripture, Jesus was most likely not born in winter. Luke 2 tells us that shepherds were living out in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks at night. That does not happen in Judea in late December. Winter rains, cold nights, animals sheltered. Biblically, the setting points to spring or early autumn, not December. So where did December 25th come from? Not Scripture, history. In the 4th century, the Roman Empire officially adopted Christianity. But instead of removing pagan festivals, they rebranded them. December 25th was already celebrated as Saturnalia and later as Sol Invictus, the birth of the unconquered sun. A festival of excess, gift-giving, feasting, decoration. Sound familiar? The date wasn't chosen because of revelation. It was chosen for convenience, to make conversion easier, to merge belief systems, to avoid resistance. That's history, not opinion. Now here's the question that matters. Does God care? The Bible answers that clearly. In John 4:24 it says, "God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth." Truth matters. Intentions are not enough if truth is ignored. God never asked his people to celebrate his birth, but he did warn them, repeatedly, not to adopt pagan practices and rename them. In Deuteronomy 12:30-31 it says, "Do not ask how the nations serve their gods. You must not do the same for the Lord your God." That is not ambiguous. God does not want borrowed worship. This is where people get uncomfortable, because tradition feels safe, because everyone does it, because questioning tradition feels like betrayal. But the Bible never commands us to protect tradition. It commands us to protect truth. Jesus himself confronted this exact issue. In Mark 7:8 he said, "You leave the commandment of God and hold to the tradition of men." That wasn't said to pagans. That was said to religious people. This doesn't mean people who celebrate Christmas are evil. It means many are uninformed. It means sincerity has replaced study. Emotion has replaced obedience. Comfort has replaced discernment. God never asked for decorated trees, never asked for fixed dates, never asked for rituals borrowed from other gods. What he asked for was far more demanding. A transformed life, daily obedience, truth over tradition. In Ecclesiastes 7 it says, "The day of death is better than the day of birth." Strange verse, unless you understand Scripture. The Bible focuses on how you live, not the day you were born. Jesus didn't tell his disciples to remember his birthday. He told them to remember his sacrifice. The problem today is not Christmas. The problem is that people celebrate loudly, but obey quietly, or not at all. They honor a date, but ignore the teachings. They celebrate a birth, but reject the discipline. God is not impressed by holidays. He is concerned with hearts. He doesn't ask, "Did you celebrate the right day?" He asks, "Did you walk in truth?" So what should we do? Not panic, not attack others, not argue endlessly, but return to Scripture, read it, question traditions, align worship with truth. Because God never asked for comfortable lies. He asked for truth. And truth does not need a holiday to stand.